One. We're live.
Hey,
We're live.
Hi.
What's up, everyone? This
Hi.
is our Gemini season community exclusive live panel. We got Saint Uno in the building. This is our special guest. We got a few other special guests coming, hopefully, but if not, don't worry about it. You got us, me. We got Shine, JDB, Free, and we're gonna have the rest of our divine feminists to tap in with us in a few. So, y'all want to get started with y'all want to start off with
Pick
a,
a,
a
or
a
you
question or a energetic read or something from somebody. I don't know who know the transits right now.
Oh yeah. Saint, do the transits.
the transits, LOL. It's like when you go to Thanksgiving, they be like, "You the oldest son, you got to say the prayer and the thing." I be hating say that shit. Luckily, I'm not the oldest though, so I don't never got to say the prayer. My brother be having to do that. But y'all know the goddamn transits. It's full moon in Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? We made it through the funked out ass Gemini season, so you should have had a whole bunch of good ass conversations with people. Well, not really good conversations, but conversations that led to some type of like epiphany or wisdom. So now you can be like, have that wisdom, like, okay, I don't need to fuck with that person no more. That I cut that friend off, or I've expanded out of this. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A lot of that kind of energy going on. For me personally, but then I just feel like in totality for everybody too. And then also too, at the same time, we got Jupiter going into Cancer, which is like the ruling planet for uh, Sagittarius. So I feel like that adds a little extra emphasis. You know what I'm saying? It's like really expanding your comfort zone. Even like this whole live stream, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're all like in our own little comfort zone, but we can't be too much like, all right, y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing is about community. So we got to really emphasize making others a part of our comfort zone. And that could be frustrating and lead to conflict and stuff like that. But the important thing is just be able to have conversation about it and talk it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to do on this live stream. Just talk it all out. You know what I'm saying? The good, the bad, the ugly. And then moving forward, we should be all more spiritually expanded and more comfortable with each other out in the world as we make this spiritual community a real thing. Question mark. I don't know. Can we do it?
Question mark. Question mark. For real.
Can we do it? Is it possible? Is all possibilities a real thing, or we just be talking shit? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
So, I have a few notes. Yeah, I wrote some notes, but I was breaking down like the community and like the different components. Well, I like numbers 1, 2, and 3. So what's the 1, 2, and 3 of community in my mind? I wrote down like the individual would be like the 1, the culture would be like the 2, and the community itself would be like the 3, or the atmosphere itself, because the individual is represent. Well, I don't want to go too deep off into that, but what y'all think about that though? Just the individual having his own culture and then being able to like project that into the atmosphere, the number 3, or the community or whatever. So I got a lot of stuff wrote down, but I'm not gonna talk about it yet.
The difference between like yourself and then like your internal world and then your external, how you relate that internal world with those around you.
Yeah. And that internal world will be like that inner morality. But if y'all want to go ahead with the questions, I was trying to have an icebreaker to lead into the questions, really. So
No,
I
I
want
think that's a good icebreaker because that's really kind of what I've been thinking a lot of, like culture in specific, right? Like I feel like the reason it's kind of perfect the way you broke it out. Like one being the individual, like you got to make sure yourself is straight first. But then I feel like when it comes time to create a culture, that's where it gets iffy because a lot of people be already wrapped up in their own culture, whether it be I kind of see like money is like the biggest culture, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like whether you want to believe it or not, it's like okay, we all gotta like go do that. Got to figure out some way to get a dollar bill tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that be a lot of, since everybody's so wrapped up into that culture, I feel like that prevents people from connecting on other ways like this right now. Like there might be people who were supposed to be here even in this live stream, but like, oh, I got work in the morning or so. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that be the breakdown a lot of times to actually get into that number 3, which is like the community itself. So yeah, it's just, I guess you got to admit you have a problem before you can nip it in the bud. So it's like, it's good to at least identify it. But I have been thinking a lot about culture and shit. Even like the shit Sean was saying before we started the live stream, like if like the whole, what if everybody was just like crocheting and making clothes, and you know what I'm saying, like that's the shit we should be doing. That's the shit that's really important, but
Yeah.
it gets seen as like childish or something. I don't know.
Well, for that first culture, like as far as the individual is concerned, like my own culture, I look at that like as my own subconscious agreements, like what I'm already cool with, even before I'm talking to somebody, like you know what I'm saying. So then I guess when it stretches out to the like the actual method dealing with actual other people, um, do they have the same type of moral and uh, internal subconscious agreements with you? And if they do, that can kind of be something that you can feel, being that it's like the number two or the moon culture feels like something that you feel. It's just like something that's been developed out of the atmosphere type shit. So you can kind of peep that without even having to go so deep with a person, because again, we talk about Gemini community. To me, this type of stuff is lighthearted. It don't have to be that serious, you know. Yeah, that's all I want to say about that though.
I like how you put it, the one and the two, because it's like that one is yourself, and then two is like you going to that relating energy, having a compromise and sacrifice, and like comparing it to culture is, it's kind of like the obligation to show up for, like the culture, whether y'all
Mm-hmm.
do this, and you kind of like how people go to church on Sundays and they do that regardless of what's going on. It's kind of like an obligation to show up for others,
Mm-hmm.
in that act of everybody compromising and showing up outside of what they gotta do for themselves. Right?
Right.
Yeah, you get that community feeling.
Yeah.
Mhm. And based on whatever that agreement is, it's going to show up as your mirror, or AKA the actual community. Because we as individuals, whoever we're attracted are around there by default for the mirror, or that's how we even attract them based off of the, the whole back and forth thing that goes on when we pull certain energies or whatever around. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But the community to me is, I put that, so it's also with the one, two, and three. I also said the sun. I don't want to go that deep. I'm sorry, we're on live. Let me remember that. The sun, moon, and the sky. So the community to me is like the sky. This is where those like reflections are mirrored to you, and how else do you see the moon except through the sky? That's the projection of the earth, but we can like see that. So, you know, I think community is something that's like in the atmosphere. You don't have to know everybody that's in your community. Not all the time. I might know my mailman, when I see him in passing, but I don't really know him like that. But he's a part of the community because, he's privy to the same environment. He knows the street to turn down. He know what time I'm finna go to the store, because we see each other at the store all the time at the same time. So it's not like to say that you got to have a deep, deep relating situation going on with you and a person for them to be like community, but you would need to be privy to some of the same awarenesses in order for that to be a thing. And another thing before I stop, to me also a person that's in the community, well, this is, I might need to say that for the questions, because I'm about to, yeah,
Feel
I'm
like
gonna say that for the questions. But yeah,
finish your thought.
well, the rest of the thought, it was gonna lead to a question that we haven't went over yet. So
Start at
maybe,
first one.
Mhm.
well,
Jump pretty
mhm,
that way.
okay.
You heard me?
No, what's that?
I said, keep finish your thought, and then we can use that.
Oh,
That's how the conversation is flowing.
okay. Well, the thought was, what was I going to say? Well, I guess we'll start with the first question. What is community, and the difference between community relationships and associates? Because I was talking about how community don't have to necessarily be so deep, like a relationship, like a one-on-one relationship. So when it comes to community, you don't have to necessarily know the people per se. You're aware of them, and y'all got the same type of culture, so to speak, because like in passing, y'all gonna smell the same fried chicken store, and y'all gonna have the same events to go down around the same time, and y'all all aware of that. So when it comes to like this online community thing, it gets weird, because that's what I was gonna say. That led me back to what I was about to say. Because like when you're in a community, you not only have to be benefiting from the community, but you got to like, it has to be like a reciprocal give and take type of thing. So that's why I say in the online, over the internet community, it gets weird because sometimes I don't want to go. I don't know. It
Say it,
just gets
Jackie.
weird.
Don't be biting your
It just
tongue.
gets
That's
weird
bad
because
juju in Gemini season. You can't bite
but
your
for
tongue.
me, for instance, if I'm resonating with people and I've been resonating with people for years, yet I haven't met these people, and I haven't like even made myself aware, even in the comment section or a like or some type of support, then you're not really in the community then, because it's supposed to be a reciprocal thing. Whether or not the amount of benefit that you can, the percentage amount of benefit that you may have on the community may not be that big. It still needs to be some type of reciprocation though. So if you can't find yourself of any type of support, or you know what I'm saying, is that community?
I
Because
think
it leads back to the question, what is community?
I feel
I
like when oh, go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna.
Oh, I kind of like that. I was actually thinking
Oh,
about
free
like church here
first.
recently and fellowship. You know, when you like say hello to the people like in front of you and to the side of you and behind you and stuff like that, and you shake their hand. You don't really know all those people, you know, or you do because you sit in the same spot every time, so you're shaking the same person's hand, you know, hiding out in the middle or whatever.
Yeah,
But I was just kind of thinking about that and how, you know, it's good to just interact with people and connect with people, even if it is on that like more shallow thing, because it's creating a familiar face
Right.
with. So like I work in a town that's not where I live, and there's this customer that comes in every once in a while, and he's a deaf guy who like only speaks ASL. He's mute, and I don't read lips, and I don't speak ASL very well. So I read energy and I know what this guy is saying. So like I always try to help him because I know that everybody else gets frustrated because they can't understand what he's trying to communicate. But like that would be a way that you contribute to the community, I guess, is just by
Mhm.
creating that familiarity with people and then knowing what they might need help with, figuring out how you can
yeah.
create community.
Okay. So what is the difference between community relationship and associates though? Like I understand the difference between community and relationships, but what's the
Energy.
difference with when it comes to associates? Associates.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Oh,
I would say
I see it as like a order of operations kind of deal. So I see it being like,
Thank you.
it's like first of all, the most important relationship. It sounds cliche, but it'd be like the relationship with self, right? It'd be like boom. And I'm saying this like in theory, not from a space of like I've actually done this in my real life, but like this is what I'm trying to do, right? So I see it as like boom, relationship with self is good. That leads to like having a good relationship, whether that be like romantic or just like knowing people on like a more one-on-one personal basis. And then it's like once you got that relationship with self and you got like strong good relationships, then you can branch out and that
Mm.
becomes a community. It's like okay, because your friend knows somebody, so it's like you got like a vouch system. It's like okay, we got this person in common. I know if I fuck with you and that person's fuck with you, it should, and that leads to like associates is more like when it's time to do business. You know what I'm saying? I think of associations like 11th house with like Saturn and stuff. That's more like people you don't really necessarily have a relationship with. They're not real close, but since they're like a friend of a friend, 9 times out of 10, they have access to a whole different network that you don't have access to. So they can bring you on like a job or something, or bring you into a different city and you meet people there. So it's like, since you got the relationship with self right, that led to you having good one-on-one relationships with people, and then y'all build your own little community, and then that expands and creates good associations, and then y'all can, like I said, all be in some scenario where y'all actually able to um, create something that y'all can stand on or make some type of business out of. But I think the moment that we try to do it in reverse is when it gets flunky, like without like trying to start a community without having your own personal relationship with self figured out, you know what I'm saying? Or being able to commune just or maintain relationships with one person one-on-one. When you try to go too big first to overcompensate for what you're lacking on a more micro level, I feel like that's where it gets frustrating. And I feel like
Hey,
that's
y'all,
what...
I'm not, but sorry, I was,
You going in and out.
it's going in. Okay, okay.
Oh, y'all
What
can't hear me?
I
about
can
me?
hear you saying, you talking about Jaden.
Okay,
Is that just me?
is it going in and out for everybody?
No, I can hear
It
you now.
was
I don't know
before,
what you
but
said.
now it's not.
Okay, I was trying to say, I think Free was trying to say something. I don't know. I didn't want to be rude. Can she just say if she was?
Yeah, I forgot what I was replying to. Some with Jackie. You was finna say something too. Maybe that may help me remind me what we was
My bad. All I was trying to make sure you didn't get
saying.
cut off or something. But all right.
Was
If
it about what was the last point that I had made? It was something about community. I forgot. What was the last point? Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, I was using this.
they I think he's saying something about online community.
Oh
Cause I
yeah.
like when it comes to like internet community, I feel like it's like real close to like being kind of delusional, because if it's not nothing in real life or something that's sustaining in real life, I feel like it can make the individuals like detached from reality. So I feel like we I don't know, maybe just like the internet community word shouldn't be, I don't know, it's iffy with that. But I feel like it should be more so trying to figure out how to do more and relate more in real time and sustain, it's kind of like Saint was saying, like one-on-one relationships and actually getting familiar with each other in real time, instead of it like being like an internet community, or like people have those kind of like streamers in a chat community, and it's all online, and all the individuals in that chat community, like you got to sit in front of your phone. In real life, you just sit in front of your phone and you're like, oh, I got all these friends. And I feel like it's like a thin line between like delusion. And I feel like delusion is good, but you gotta keep it safe.
Right. That's real.
That's real right there.
I definitely feel like there's an online community and a real life community, and you got to know the difference for yourself, because it's a
Would the goal then be to make them like one and the same, or like because I feel like that's
To
kind
me,
of defeats the purpose, where it's like I got online and then I got real life. I feel like the goal would be to make them just one and the same, but we're just not there yet.
right.
yeah,
That's like
that's what I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, the delusion is good because we know we have to, before we even manifest or materialize anything, we got to believe that shit first. So sometimes you got to be delusional to
right.
even get into the space to even make that be a thing. Because the goal would be to make these same components that I find from people like y'all, even though I haven't met y'all in real life, but say I didn't. That was my point before I met y'all, to actually have somebody I know I can touch. Y'all know me, I know y'all, and we on the same thing. Because the people in my actual life, in my in my location that I'm in, they're not. But even though we're not in the same location, if I chose to move somewhere or whatever, I actually know people, and I created that based off of my delusion online on the internet to
I
a
thought
certain degree.
it could be
Yeah.
real. It could be
I
real because
think it
I.
could be more real.
What'd you say, V?
Everybody's stuff breaking up real bad. What's going on?
It
Is
could be
it?
more real because
It is yours. Is it a fan on or something?
I'll be right.
What you finna say, Shine?
I don't know.
It was about meeting people in real life, and like we
Oh,
actually
oh,
made that happen.
yeah. Also, I was gonna say, I think that it works when you're surrounded with people that had their own community, within themselves first.
Right.
The intent first. Like, look at us. You know what I'm saying? We found ourselves first, and we branched out. Like kind of like what Saint was saying, having that relationship within yourself to like go and like expand and push yourself out there online, you know, and making a community out of it. That's what we're doing now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
In the
So
process of it all. But yeah.
that kind of leads to the next question. Mm-hmm.
Was it a
Oh, I was
possum?
gonna say to add on to the question, that I deleted my social media multiple times on different occasions because I realized most of the people in the past that I was creating my content for was a delusional ass realm. And I'm like, okay, we can connect on our delusions and our dreams, but it has to be so family. You know what I'm saying? It has to be like we all are on the same team. So if y'all wondering why I have 1,000 different social media accounts, that is I joined my worlds, basically. So yeah. What's the
Well,
next question?
that leads to the next question, which is this a community? When I say this, I don't know really what I'm talking about because I didn't even know everybody wasn't going to be here because a lot of people that is not here I haven't met, but coincidentally everybody that's here I actually have met, so I can say that this is a community as far as us. But
Yeah.
outside of just this, like, y'all know what I'm saying, like,
Mm.
is this a community, and if so, what's the culture and a point, if there is a point? Or if y'all want to switch the question up to be able to answer it for real, what's our culture as far as like what we have kind of like agreed upon subconsciously with each other that's here present right now? Ooh, weird deep question. It's ain't this no Sagittarius moon. I was gonna say the Scorpio moon.
Where you at, Misa? Get your ass in here.
What's up, Misa?
Oh, let me go back. Here. That's what she said. My bad.
Oh, YouTube finally started working.
So, what was the question?
Again, the question is, well, we kind of already know the answer for the first part of the question. Is this like a community? Yeah, we're familiar with each other. That's how we even here. And we actually met, so I can actually say that based on us here. But the other part of the question was, what's the culture and the point, if any? Can y'all answer that?
I feel like we all are creative. We all, know the. I don't know. Yeah, it's
I
like
think, well, let me see what y'all think first.
a sense of self understanding. You know, everybody is individuals. Just like I know that's like a common like for us to understand that everybody is different. We all are
Well, we can
creative.
speak on, oh, my bad. We can
Oh,
speak
go.
on individual terms if that make it easier.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Misa,
hey,
Hey,
Nisa.
hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
what's
Hey.
up?
Doing good.
I can't
I was
complain.
saying we can speak from the individual if that makes the question more easier to answer. Like, what's my own community culture as far as me as an individual? Then y'all can know like if that's something that everybody can agree on. So for me, the point of like me being a part and participating with the community is because I would like to materialize these things even more. And community expands the atmosphere for real. Like once you get what the Bible say, when two or more are gathered, ye are also here or some shit. But it's like when you have more than just you that's agreeing to know that y'all are aware of something, then that makes more information available, and then that allows you to like build on that. So that's part of my reason. So I guess that could be like my culture too, is to grow. Like, I don't know, what do y'all think? That's why we got these questions.
Yeah, I think like a culture and community, it's like there's certain things that we all got in common, whether that be like astrology or like spirituality and all that stuff. So that's like the culture or the community. Now the other part of the question where you're like, what's the point? The point for me would be to get everybody on like a similar like mindset. And what I mean by that is like, okay, like I make music and I make content. A lot of times why I feel like my quote unquote numbers or outreach isn't as big as I would like it to be is because a lot of people don't have the same culture. Like people rather talk about Diddy, they rather talk about gender war, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is. So it's like the mission of the culture for me is to literally like create my audience. And my audience, I mean like people who would like financially support, not even just that, but also just like emotionally, mentally support whatever I'm doing, because it resonates with something similar that they're doing. So they know, okay, I don't have to, if I want to be a content creator, I don't have to make videos about Diddy. I could just talk about my, you know what I'm saying, do my own personal thing. So the purpose for me for community is to like create really like an audience, a market, which that sounds kind of like
You're creating
capitalistic, but it's just like that's what they're doing anyway. So we might just like do it better. I think that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's like the people that are like paying attention to like all that gossip and stuff like that. That's where their money is going. That's where their focus is going.
Right.
Therefore, that's why we don't resonate with that or our culture, because we look within. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
we get deep within that. And yeah.
Keep going, Shine. You keep going.
That what?
I said keep going because you was answering the questions. You making it make sense.
Yeah. So yeah, so if that's what, you know, that's what community is, the product of what you focus on. Is the result of what you're like, you know, because the spark, you know, two, being fixated or reflecting and relating it, and then, you know, seeing it externally for what it is, for what you created for yourself. So if you're focusing on that and stuff like that, and that type of culture, I think we're seeing now more and more that a lot of people don't give a fuck. You know, like they don't care really about that stuff. And then, you know, I think we're seeing more now that people are trying to get to know who they are really, with between all the bullshit that's going on externally. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because
I
it
forgot
seems
I
like
have kids,
your.
right?
Do y'all feel like
Oh, no, you go ahead, Jackie.
so basically
No,
do
go
y'all
ahead,
feel,
Sam.
oh,
What you
Because
say?
I was just gonna say when it came down to the what is it? Saint said something. Okay, so when it comes to community, to me, it's the common unity that brings people together on what basically you are paying attention to. So if you don't have that connection, whether that's internally or externally, it basically throws the whole thing off, which, you know, people pay to throw shit off. And it's like, hey, focus on this shit here, just so that unity is kind of thrown into another loop. So it's just like, and so people rather pay for bullshit than to pay for what they feel like within is something that they can actually bring out.
Yeah, because I had wrote down your reflection creates. What does that say? Well, your reflection creates your community, or I can't read my own handwriting, but basically that's what I was saying, and that's where the individual's mentality gets serious. Because if we're in well, I ain't trying to make it like that's the case, but I'm just saying when you're in a community, say you already built the same type of mechanism or community within yourself to where you're like self-defeating all the time, or hateful, or real happy, or whatever the case is, but whatever that is, you're gonna by default like affect the atmosphere. And that's how a community is supposed to work. You're supposed to affect the atmosphere, you're supposed to be affected by it. And then hopefully these things happen in beneficial and harmonious ways. But that's where that's part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because I like to know what I'm agreeing on when it comes to stuff that's in the atmosphere that I can't necessarily like fully pinpoint, but I can get a little clarity on it if I have this conversation. Because you know, like I said, a lot of things that we're just agreeing on just not randomly, but like on a subconscious level. Sometimes if we can really bring those things out to the light, we can kind of start working on them, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I
But
feel
yeah,
air energy, having those conversations and being willing to, communicate with people that you may think is familiar or kind of like you just being open to have a conversation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta talk to each other.
And that goes back to trust. Like you got to know how to trust yourself to know who you
Yeah.
are and who you're not, and then you can know what communities you're gonna like subconsciously create, but then you might even become a part of, but you're not even trying to be, and you're not forcing it, and then you naturally create that. But a lot of people, they don't. What Saint was saying, we all said that first community with just yourself is important. Even if that's just like shit, people in your real life, your mom, your dad, or your sister, your brother. Like, what kind of relationship do you have with those individuals? And then when you get outside of that, how does it magnify itself? Like, are you seeing similarities? Like when Lady Divine wrote the different communities, or do y'all have different communities that y'all are a part of that's still weirdly interconnected or not at all?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which can create the drifting, or it could create like together type of vibe. Um,
Right. Hey,
all right.
that's real shit right there. Because sometimes, like, I find myself in certain communities, or I guess maybe I was even going through phases for real. And like, is the community? This ain't a part of the questions, but I was kind of wondering this though. Well, how do I even ask the question? Like, your community, is that something? Well, no, because when it comes to community, that's like a androgynous thing. So it's not. Or do y'all agree to this? Is a community something that changes, or you grow with the community, or do you grow out of the community? Like, let's tap in on that aspect of it, like growing out of the community and detaching yourself from old communities or thoughts and feelings or whatnot.
Yeah, it changes. That's why it kind of opposes Sagittarius because it's like you can get familiar with different things. And you can move your surroundings. You could cut off connections, gain new connections. So it
Yeah.
can change as you get familiar with new things.
Like
And I
Mhm.
think it's supposed to. It's supposed to grow and get bigger, you know.
that's ninth
I would
house.
rather.
Full moon batch right now. Like you eventually you graduate. You leave that fucking class. You leave those classmates unless y'all got the same assignment or mission that y'all
Right.
might.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like stagnation. Like when you so familiar with something and you just want to just stay comfortable. That's why Gemini kind of turns into Cancer because you can get so familiar that
Mhm.
you
And then you gotta
Mhm.
then you want to break free all of a sudden from that space if it don't resonate.
I
So
I
do
would
think you need
rather.
to
Go ahead.
you said what?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I do think you need to like graduate from certain communities, but at the same time too, I also see it like not graduate from the sense of like cutting people off or like because really when I hear when you like graduate from certain communities, like you might have been a part of one community and you go to another one, it's like you're more it's usually you want to claim this because you're more spiritually or mentally expanded and stuff like that, but then I feel like it becomes your responsibility to kind of like not go back and help the communities you were a part of, but go back and help the communities you were a part of. You know what I'm
Right.
Because
saying?
you
So
can't forget where
like
you came from.
yeah,
yeah, and
Yes.
not be it because a lot of times those people won't agree with you, but it's not really like a ego thing of like, oh, these people don't agree with my beliefs, so I can't talk to them. It's like no, it's like I'm expanded enough to know what the fuck is going on. So it's like a perfect. What's the saying? It's like a smart person can play a fool, but a fool can't play smart. So sometimes you got to go back into these communities that you were a part of, play the fool or whatever, just because you know what I'm saying. These people are your family. I'm not gonna say you need to get rid of your family or you need to get rid of people you grew up with, but that's how you become a leader. And the reason why you're a leader in those communities is because of the other communities that you joined that they may not understand, but then you got to be the bridge for them. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that cuts down on a lot of the kind of flunkness that we're talking about in the online community. Because I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, okay, I'm gonna run away from my family, or I'm gonna run away from my real life to the online people, and then the online people help you like let you down. Where it's like that wasn't necessarily the point. The point was to like expand yourself mentally with the people online, and then go back to the people who's in your actual neighborhood, who's in your actual
Right.
family. You know what I'm saying? And then if we can get to a point where the online people become our community, that's cool too. But like I was saying earlier, it's always like a stepping stone, and we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. And that's even when I found myself going through a lot of this personal transit, like a lot of relationships and communities that I were based on like online shit kind of fizzled out, only for me to go back to like family and people that I was close with, but the relationship be different this time around. So I feel like, and it's not like I'm never going to try to do the online thing again, but it's just like, it's a process, and we got to have grace for everybody,
Right.
because this shit ain't easy.
Because
Right.
that would be with you just dealing with your family. So then imagine now that's why you have to draw those lines, because it's like your external, the people who's watching you, they don't know y'all for y'all. They're just watching you online, creating a whole idea around that avatar. With your real family, they actually know things about you. Do y'all feel like y'all have family communities? Do y'all feel like or do y'all not have that? Did you have to create an online community, or do you have a little bit of both? I have a mixture of both.
I have a mixture of both. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
say both.
Yeah, me personally, me too.
Okay.
And you can't never like forego that, because if you were to separate yourself, be like, yeah, I done came up spiritually. I don't fuck with y'all no more. You wouldn't even be able to really say that you got both at that point. And if you can still connect with the people that you have had to grow out of, that shows like maturity. Like I can still fuck
Yeah.
with the people that like took me through some shit, because I actually genuinely love these people. And then when I come back to them, I can see how much I grew just based off of like where they at, or you know what I'm saying, or how much I can affect my family members. You know, just rubbing off. Not that you're trying to make somebody be like you or learn like you, but just based off your own pure example. And being that this is the person that actually love you and know you, they can't help but to be affected by that, because it's still an aspect of the community, even though these are maybe individuals that you have grown distant from a little bit, but you can't forget none of this, because you can't never forget where you
Yeah.
came from. I can
Exactly.
forgive you, but I ain't gonna never forget type
When
shit.
It's
you
like even if you do start to separate from your family, the things that you start to focus within yourself, characteristics, habits, they all pop up back in your family. You going back there. You're going back there and revisiting like stuff that you already experiencing, because your mom and your dad, it was a team to get you here,
yeah,
so there was a reason. There was a reason for that. And so when you address those things and stuff like that, I feel like, damn, my thought
yeah.
just left.
No. Oh,
Yeah,
piggyback on what
when
you.
you address,
Go ahead.
okay, yeah, when you address those things, just thinking like you're gonna separate from your family or whatever, like you can't really separate from that really, because the things that you do, the things that you resonate with, all those things, like there's a meaning and reasoning behind it from your attachment, or you know so
Yeah.
regardless of how far you go to the woods and get out of your family, I bet you're gonna realize, hey, I'm an overthinker like my father or something like that.
Right.
Like, so it's gonna just go back to it. So I think I like what you said, Jackie. It does show growth and maturity when you go back to your family after, like, you thought they were like the worst people, but they are like not. They're just
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. And they're your
And
reflections, and they were your previous reflections. So
exactly.
if you
Yeah.
want to reject them, you're rejecting yourself in a way too.
Boom.
Even if
That was Jackie. I was
There
getting the
yeah,
you
same
go.
motherfucking
There
thing.
you
Cause
go.
yeah,
you're supposed to embrace the
that's literally
shadow.
what I was gonna say. Like, a lot of people, I feel like you have the family relationship and you grow out of it, and you try to meet people like in the online community just to find out that these people are flawed. But it's like, you never gonna meet flawless individuals. So it's like, the
Hmm.
moment, but when you make that too important, be like, oh, these people are wrong, or these people are wrong. It's like, when you're not forgiving of other people, it's because you're not forgiving of certain aspects of yourself, and that's what you need to nip in the bud. So once you, like, again, starting with that relationship with self, once you begin to realize you're not perfect and you got flaws, you begin to accept that with other people, but it's like, okay, but that's still my mom. Okay, but that's still, they still online speaking more spiritual than anybody else I know. Even though we may not disagree on this, like it's still better than, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like accepting everybody, that nobody's perfect. You can only do that when you realize that you ain't perfect either.
That's why I say
All right.
these,
Facts.
like, if you actually spin the block the right way and you fuck us back, like, where you at, and they be like, they respect the hell out of you because you didn't just leave them. You like, you were like, you left. It's like, I like to say sometimes, like when I separated from my mom because of my own personal shit or her shit, and separating those two worlds, the little community she came from and the one I'm actually trying to create, I let her down, but I was actually putting up, you know what I'm saying, for something better in the future. But people, they think, oh, spiritual community, fuck your family, with random in the woods dancing naked. No.
Right.
So just be careful, y'all. Not with it.
And me personally, I noticed when I like went through my little whatever, and I was separated from my family, it wasn't even a choice for me. So I literally know that just because I didn't have a sense enough to consciously separate on my own, I had got to the point to where like I'd ride by somebody's house, their house burnt down, or some shit like that. Or I go to the same store every day, never see the same people I used to see, like literally. So just based off of you and like where you at, the alignment is gonna be something synonymous with that anyway. Like if you're not aligned to bump into somebody, like it sounds like that's far fetched, but I know this to be true. If you're not aligned to like be in the presence of something, you ain't gonna be in the presence of that. It just ain't gonna work like that. I mean, now that varies as far as like how deep that go. But me personally, I experienced that. I was actually changing and going through some like deep transformations, and I wasn't trying to run from nobody. I wasn't even rejecting nobody. They literally had disappeared, and I couldn't even find them until it was time for them to come back around me. Like that happened.
Yeah. If I always say it's funny, the people who, well, anytime family members, friends, or whatever, like I do feel like there are certain family members, friends, or associations where it's like there is no going back. Like, and it is funny how once I learn whatever the lesson is, they don't ever come back around. Like, there's no portal for them to like know how to even, and or me to come back to. It's like weird, like the door would be closed, or
Nah, yeah, that's the realest shit ever.
Mhm.
And you be trying to act like that don't exist, but that's a real thing.
And then you'd be like, what happened? The disconnection, cut off, because they're not really a part of like your true internal community, so they don't have no way to even connect to you no more, or you may not even relate. That's why you have those family members who like, yeah, I fuck with that family, but that can stay over there. So
Yeah. Of course.
good wisdom.
Yeah, I say I definitely myself had to learn that from different people. I'm like, okay, I can see you're here for a season and you here for a reason. Now let me make sure I keep this like line drawn for where I ain't going back to that. I learned my lesson. I know that's a season.
Alchemy said, good wisdom with Jupiter going into Cancer. Get familiar with forgiveness. It is a gift it is a gift for yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's real shit. Forgiving people, yeah, forgiving people is 100% for you,
Yep.
not for
Yeah.
them.
That's
That's the test.
Yeah.
this karma is to forgive yourself for the shit you manifested yourself going through with other people. Be no fool. Yes, forgiveness is for self is also a choice. That's true. It is.
I choose
Next
you.
question.
That's my favorite song. LOL. That's literally my favorite song.
Jackie coming in with the book.
I like it too.
Hey.
I love that song.
Yeah, I want to move to the next question.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Here's another tough question. And it's not that these questions are tough. They're so, to me, they're like elusive. Like, is that even something to be thinking about? So that's what I mean when I say tough question. So how to create and maintain like the remembrance of the culture that we created or of a community. Like, so
Ooh,
do y'all understand that question?
Traditions.
Yes.
Say
Tradi-
again. Traditions, okay.
yeah, free set tradition.
Ritual.
Mhm.
I say rituals.
Being more intentional, about the stuff that you do. I think that will
The,
carry out to memory and
the
make it.
original question had the original question had the word documentation in it. So, and I added
Oh,
that part right now because it's like once you do these rituals or these traditions, they'll leave like something inside of your heart, or maybe you can even document it or make a statue of it. But the question was also about documenting the, I guess, your footprint for the next cycle to be able to be aware. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
How do you do that?
Yeah. And that low key kind of makes me think about me and my cousin had a nice conversation on how we noticed that at one point in our family, we had like a shit ton of photos and everybody had an album. But grandpa passed, grandma passed, auntie passed, uncle passed. Those pictures get lost with them. So it's like she was thinking about like, oh, we need to make sure that we document this. So once all of us pass, at least damn the kids know what we look like and can put us on an altar or something. I'm like, yeah, low key people need to bring stuff like that back. Everybody might not like pictures. Shoot, hold your name up on a card and put it in front of your face or something.
I don't
But
yeah.
know.
yeah,
Right.
don't let it be known. It's gonna get lost at some point.
That's what I was gonna say. Videos, pictures that help you
Yeah.
document. Even writing books. You got writers write
Yeah.
stories. What are those newspaper articles? Like
And
people
honestly, like,
Creating
Keep cutting.
art, you
art.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
pottery. Yeah, pottery.
truly impactful moments and experiences that you have with people, you're just going to like have that burn in your heart. You're going to talk about that. You're going to tell people stories about it. It's just going to randomly come up for no reason. You'd be like, oh, and this one time we were doing this thing. Like, it just creating
Mhm.
something that stays, something that means something to you, that continues to mean something to you.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was about to say, yeah, routines. Like, routine. Shout out to Crystal, like, wait, my see. Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
like things that you do, like, annually. I mean, that is traditions, but like my family, we have like meals that we'll always, and I have like a day, but like we'll have certain meals that remind us of whether it's a good or a bad.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we finna
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah.
Songs,
Like
making
holiday.
music.
You have to create holidays.
Food.
Yeah.
Food carries energy and vibes for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those do I do smells like
Hmm.
colognes or perfumes and stuff
Mhm.
of the content break.
Well, when you said that, that made me think about like the one of the good people in the family or whatever, the major, what you call that, mother of the family had a business or something, and her family got a chance to know about the business and even reap money off of it, like generations down the line. So that's a way to like document and keep remembrance of certain aspects of the culture that was created.
Hmm.
Yeah. Telling stories to
Even
making
though
certain. Yeah. I'm going.
no, my bad, Sean.
No, I was just gonna say making certain movements. Like making. I don't. Be more intentional. I keep going back to that because like when you're intentional, it's just you're directing yourself to go somewhere. So here we're gonna create this heaviness to like create this moment in time, capture this. Let me, or
I know what you're
just
saying.
yeah. And so when you capture that within you, like capturing it externally without you and releasing it for everybody to see, really, that's what we
And
always
it's
do,
like
anyway.
And it's like locking it inside of your DNA too. So you'll see, because I know with me having kids, I know for a fact that a lot of stuff that was just like in my nature at that time, my kids are that. Like I don't even have to tell them they already that. So like I know what you're saying with locking these things in with the intentions, having the intention to do something. You were born with these intentions too. I know it was certain things that I just knew before anybody told me, but that's probably based off of what was already locked inside my mama's DNA or whatever. So that's the way too.
Yeah, even though I don't really want to, I don't know if I want to be on nobody altar and stuff like that. When you was talking about that stuff, Mika, I do keep like I have a few things from my when my nana passed I that helped me remember the culture she created, so I can help continue what she started. Like the at least the,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Y'all want to move to the next question?
yeah, we moving
Yeah.
All
pretty.
right. Question number 4: How to involve yourself in a familiar community. How to involve yourself in a familiar community, and or I guess each individual can answer this. What should you gain or offer? And I say familiar community because you can there's all kind of communities outside of you, but if it ain't familiar to you, then it's not for you. So you need to know what's familiar to you, and we know we got to figure out like our own self first so that we can understand it. So how do you once you figure out who like what you like and what you resonate with, and you maybe come across some type of group like we're not really like a group, but it's just something that we're doing that you can find us in passing on the internet. Once you find that, how do you how what I say? How do you involve yourself in the community? Even if it ain't online, it don't matter. How do you involve yourself in the community?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jack.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you for. I don't remember how they got. No, help, but
You still going in and out.
oh,
I can hear you, but I can't.
all right.
So, how to involve yourself in a familiar community?
Mhm.
Talking to others?
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
And when
I
you
can
involve
definitely
yourself, you either
yeah.
have to gain or offer. Like
oh, okay.
so, so to me, when you're involving or participating, the actual participation is that's where I was going with that question from earlier that I didn't want to go into. But this was the question right here. When the reciprocation is there. So reciprocation is when you offer something and you can also based on what has been given from you, you're gonna be able to receive something back. But you know, the reciprocation. So if you don't if that effect ain't there, then that's not a familiar community. So I guess it's like a three-part question almost. How do you involve yourself in a familiar community? What should you gain and offer in the community? And the third part is open for the individual. What do y'all think? I guess
Mm,
start with what can you gain and offer. Well, I tell y'all my opinion. If y'all don't know where to start.
mhm.
My opinion is you're supposed to we know you're supposed to be affected by whatever's in your environment, but if I can gain some type of awareness from you, then through my own growth, I should be able to offer a lending hand to you. So I guess to me, if I see that being a possibility, that's something that I would want to participate in. And you know,
Yeah. I mean, the important thing to gain is that like you always like it sounds cliche, but like that whole idea of teamwork makes the dream work. Is like you got to realize. Like I forgot who said it earlier, but it's like it always takes two people to bring you into this existence. So that lets you know that even beyond your physical, whenever you're trying to create something, and that's really what we're talking about, creating a culture, it's going to take a relatability energy. So um, that's like it comes back to reciprocity. Like you can't pour more than you have or only pour yourself and not receive anything back. But also when you go through those experiences and people don't pour back into you, you got to make sure to not get a heart in a heart, because the mission is always to create some type of like connection to bring something into existence, you know. So that's what we all have to offer. If you don't like the status quo, which I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I don't hate the status quo, but I think things could be better, then it's kind of your duty and obligation to make a new status quo. And that's going to take other individuals. And when you're dealing with other individuals, they're going to have different likes, dislikes, and stuff. So it's like, it's got to be reciprocity. But that applies to you too. Don't get taken advantage of. So it's just really
Mm,
like trial and error, really.
mhm.
yeah.
And it starts with communication for you to even be aware of them, for you to even know about them. Somebody had to communicate something. And then for them to be aware of you, something needs to be communicated, whether it's through words, donations, whatever the case it is. Like you have to also somebody got to be aware of you for you to even it to be a community.
And I'm glad you said that too, because that's one thing that I wanted to bring up too. I feel like where the communication oftentimes breaks down is when it's like when you got to have the quote unquote negative or the bad conversations, but that be the most important shit. Like I feel like it'd be all good when people want to communicate, oh, what's going good, or we celebrating and stuff like that. But again, it gets back to that relationship with yourself. Once you truly can admit your shortcomings, you ain't got no problem admitting that to other people. Where communication or miscommunication happens is people have those shortcomings, but since they didn't come to terms with them on themselves, they just neglect uh, communicating with somebody, and it's like, oh, why didn't? And then that's where it's like you could have just kept it light. We could have just had a conversation about it, and it probably wouldn't have been that deep. But the fact
Right.
that you made it heavy, so to the point that you weren't comfortable enough to express it, that's where miscommunication happens. So, yeah, I remember I wanted to make that point earlier, so you made me think of that.
Yeah. And so to effectively involve yourself in a community, it's gonna take a little communication because, like you said, it's not that deep anyway. So just talk, and once you talk, you will be able to have some type of like I guess if you're already in community, you'll be familiar enough to keep things like you know what I'm saying, because it ain't no deep relationship aspect. It's just familiarity, and everybody is familiar with life and the different things about life. So the communication is key.
Yeah.
Y'all, anybody else got something to say? Who ain't said nothing? Me already said something. Y'all want to move on to the next question? I feel like it's that. I feel like that ain't it.
I fell back and I feel like something. So can somebody use they Leo to say something missing?
Got one more question. Y'all want to leave that one? We finished with that one? This is the final question after that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the messy question. Community politics. How do you handle gossip, confrontations, differences amongst individuals? How do you handle like differences amongst individuals? Maybe they're from a different place, have different like external culture that they're used to, but they are separating from that, and now they're trying to merge with whatever y'all got going on. How do you handle gossip? Because you can't help but to communicate. That's what we were just talking about, communicating effectively or ineffectively. One of them is going to create gossip, possibly, which could lead into a confrontation. How do you handle these things without even going there, though, or
Communication.
having to go like right communication?
And you gotta
But
understand who they are. Like everybody come from different backgrounds. Some people care about certain things, and it's like you gotta know how to control your character and also deal with other characters and how your character will match with that character. And it is what it is. Like when I get with this person, like this, you gotta understand that so you can control the situation better. But communication, I say, help you deal with that. Cause I mean, you can't be cool with everybody.
That's true.
Respect people, like even people who don't mess with you. Like it's still a respect for their character, you know.
Jackie, you ask the question one more time. I want to
Yeah.
rehear it.
I said, how do you handle gossip? Let
That's
me.
good. Yeah.
My bad. I said that
Okay.
earlier. Is like all
How do you handle gossip, confrontations, and differences amongst individuals? Because by default, we're gonna communicate with each other, which could lead to gossip or confrontations.
Right.
Especially if somebody is not like don't have their own inner community in alignment, then that's gonna cause them to like you know um not be keeping it real. And what was I say? Hold on, I'm looking at my notes too, y'all.
No,
Um,
okay. When I hear that, I think that's
oh,
the
that's not.
important thing to remember is like to have grace for people, because it's like it's gonna be hard. You're gonna disagree with people in your community, but like when it's either that or the status quo, and the status quo is like basically saying that you agree with the people who run these jobs and create this society of oppression that you love to complain about online and stuff like that. So it's like when you don't, when you're too judgmental and you can't, like you said, gossip and conflict, all that stuff's gonna happen. But the moment where it becomes detrimental and like we can't patch it up and just move forward as a community, because at least we live next door to each other. You know what I'm saying? We don't like, you're not the people who run these jobs and stuff like that. Like we got to have more grace for each other and just not be so. But that's easier said than done, because it's like it's easier to forgive people when they're not, when they're kind of faceless, and that's the problem that we're dealing with. Our quote unquote oppression or whatever is like faceless. It's like you never really in the same room with these people, but you agreeing to their culture and their community because you can't patch it up with your own people.
Too, what you said, and plus individuals, they kind of mind their own business. So like if you really got your own stuff going on and you really care about what you got going on so that you can add to the community and the atmosphere, then you may not even be privy to what's, at least not the emotions of the gossip. Even if you hear about what's going on, if you know what's important, then you'll know like that part, what you're talking about, the messy part, ain't important for real. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it could even lead to you kind of like helping the situation from even getting out of hand as it could, as mess could get. But that's just in reality type of confrontations. I don't really know like how to handle online beef. Excuse me, y'all. But like in reality, in real, in like my actual life, I handle gossip and confrontations like you said, free, by talking about it. Let's talk about it so we can see like, is this something? Is there a misunderstanding here? Is there something that I need to know that maybe I would think about it in a different way and I won't feel offended till you start some mess or feel like I need to confront you, you know? And
Mhm.
if you mind your business, you'll be more concerned about your own personal safety anyways, whether that's physical safety or just mental peace, in order to even want to have gossip or want to spread and add to whatever gossip that could be going on in the moment.
Mhm. And minding your business, like you just become more familiar with yourself. So you already know how you can appear to others or how others may see you. So it's like you take stuff less personal. I feel like some people can take stuff too personal.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, I'd be a little bit more scared.
Yeah.
And two, community is lighthearted. Like if somebody try to really for real, sometimes when it comes to like community mess and gossip, it be forced sometimes. Like people just bored and want to start some shit because if you really think about, and I'm talking about like real life mess, whatever they be talking about, it don't even affect your life. So why do you even care about it? Like to even, and so when we talking about something that we're actually trying to be serious in, when you hear mess, it's time for you to look at the person that's delivering the mess to you and reevaluate what they got going on versus you even caring
Yeah,
about the mess they trying to spread because it ain't that deep. Why you trying to start shit? So especially online.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I was thinking like when you say politics, like confrontation, is that kind of like rules or boundaries within a community? Or
Well, when I looked up the word politics, it basically means like handling gossip and confrontations and differences amongst the individuals in power.
Yeah, I think I look at politics as just being fake. That's how I break down politics. But like being fake, it's not like a bad thing. It's like you gotta, even getting back to what I was saying earlier about the levels of the relationships. Like your relationship with yourself is going to be the most authentic. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna know everything about yourself, and then it kind of expands. Your relationship one on one with people might be a little bit closer than your relationship with community, and then that's closer than it is with associates and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about yeah, knowing that the vulnerability, like you got to kind of keep that close, but also not have a hardened heart.
Hmm.
Mhm. Okay. Well, we 1 minute and 1 hour and 4 minutes in. That was the final question. Do y'all want to open up the panel up for other people before we do?
Yeah, we can see if
Yeah.
anybody pop quick ask questions, say something.
I did want to comment on that. I got distracted because toddler shenanigans. Okay, toddler shenanigans. But the one thing I noticed, especially after having to leave what I consider my oldest community to coming into a new community, because the last one I was in, I was there for probably 20 plus years. This one I've only been in for about a year. And I'm not really confrontational. I can always solve something with conversation. Sadly, some situations have had to escalate, which I don't appreciate. But the confrontation I had so far was just trying to conversate about it. I had to just respect that other people literally are different. And it's like you can come across as plainly as you possibly can. I'm usually a bubbly personality for the most part, and I make sense at the most. So it's like it's a hit or miss for the most part, because something as simple as a noise level could be a difference and turn into a confrontation for some people. And it's like, hey, you obviously come from a different walk of life. I'm gonna respect that, but I'm gonna keep my peace, because that's the best thing to go about for the most part. It's always just finding your peace while also trying to get a piece of your mind off to other people when you need to.
Right.
Okay, Stephen, come in. Mhm.
And I was gonna say like
Your
us like
turn.
and like the static, it's like structure. Like when it comes to community, at the end of the day, the common goal is business. It's building. We got productive, keep the economy going. So it's like when it comes to handling like small gossip and friction, it's like we still got business to handle. We still gotta be productive and keep,
Mhm.
things running. The
Yeah.
the common goal.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Walking with that boundary, you know,
Yeah.
Mm.
walk in the room. Hmm.
Okay, so I got a question because Free kind of already answered it, but I was gonna ask everybody what like the purpose, like if this is a community, what you all would see the purpose to be in it. Like she just said, making business out of it. That's kind of, I kind of feel the same way. Like, because like I was saying earlier, the main thing that detracts us, even when we were all talking about spirituality and how it's your purpose, everybody was really talking about like creative things, like, oh, I like to knit, I like to make music, I like to make this, that, and the third. So I really see the culture being like us connecting as individuals who just want to do creative shit all the time. What's the biggest hurdle to that? You got to do XYZ to, you know what I'm saying, make a money to make a living and get a roof over your head and shit like that. So um, just to get a ball rolling, yeah, that would be the kind of main purpose for what I see culture as. The end goal being something that we can build like reciprocity on a business level on, you know what I'm saying? So we can be like self-sufficient in that way and don't have to always like be detracted by jobs and shit like that. But some people might not think that it's all about money and shit like that. So again, I want to open it up. What do y'all think like the main purpose of community should be?
I
I
personally.
think.
Well,
Oh,
I'll definitely say it's a how do I help you and how do you help me kind of thing, because of reciprocity. It's like, yeah, what are you good at that you can do? Matter of fact, Dolo said it before. What are you good at and what am I good at? What good can you do and what good can I do? And how can we bring that together to make a common goal of basically commonality? Because in the end, we all just trying to make it in this world. So like, how do we make it better versus making it worse? And of course, money is gonna come in, but it's not just like you said, all about the money. It can always be that, oh, literally somebody know how to crochet. Okay, well, I need this outfit, and hey, I can fix your sink. If
Right.
you can get these 3 outfits done, you can, like, I can fix your sink for you. And just stuff like that really goes a long way, because the bartering system definitely could always make a comeback. And even with bartering, it ain't got to start with money. It could always be about that trade kind of thing.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay, so like reciprocity, pretty much. You
Yeah.
well,
scratch
to
my
me,
back, I scratch yours, type shit.
well, also, I think one of my what I see as a purpose currently, especially if we all work together to do this, is to like change the overall mentality or the status quo what people culturally agree on with those subconscious things, like just talking like we're talking right now, making that be a thing. Because once we do it, maybe we put it in the world, maybe we'll see it somewhere else, and then that continues to expand. And then we could actually have something to work with because we could talk about creating businesses and things like that. But like the way the business world is, some of those things go against our own subconscious agreements for real. But if we can like impose our this it's not new, but it's like if we can put these types of way the way we think and the way we maneuver amongst each other just with realness and like just being straight up, and it's not everybody being a number. You're actually like a person that people well-being we're concerned about. Shifting that into being a thing to me is a part of my like the current purpose for us to even get there.
Okay, I feel you. So you like fuck a business if we can actually
I
change
ain't that I'm
people's
like
mind, then it like
yeah.
to the point where like the business is not even important no more because we kind of like I don't want to say evolve beyond that, but we're just dealing on a more like relatable human to human level, and it ain't got to be
Well,
so
not
transactional.
necessarily that I'm saying fuck the business. It's like both of those things. Like those
Yeah.
things merging and blending with each other based on how things have shifted in the mentality, and now we can work in a certain way with more harmony where everybody's comfortable with who ain't in that status quo currently type of shit.
Okay, for sure.
That's how I
Mm.
feel.
I feel like right now the most we can do to keep it productive is do things like this,
Mm.
since we like all far away from each other realistically, but just showing up socially and you know helping each other just by being somebody to talk to, because when it's like couples on the internet, because we're doing like internet stuff, we're live right now because I guess we want viewers or more, some type of attention and some type of what is it, resource or whatever. So it's like just being there for one another and having somebody to bounce off, because teamwork makes the dream work. So more collabs and being productive with each other, I feel like they'll help us. It may help one person individually, but it's like
It could it could make people that we're not even aware of do this, you know what I'm saying? Like their common goal might their culture may be different, but they may have a similar common goal as us, and it wouldn't matter if we are even connected to them. At least it's another space in the world that's doing something that we're trying to see in the world. You know what I'm saying?
it's like
So
Mm.
inspiring others, but you also want to do for yourself too.
right.
Okay,
Mm.
Like we can inspire people, but you know
Yeah.
I want the people I'm familiar with to be good and everybody to be like realistically happy,
Mhm.
hmm
so just
Yeah.
showing up for each other.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to things like actually like, and it may seem far fetched, but to me, I don't see it any other way because of who I am, and I create my own experience. Like I'm looking for things to change drastically. Really, for real, I am. I don't know where it's going, like necessarily how that will play out. I can see it happening, and we can't never like foresee things specifically, but I can see that being a big potential, whether it be on the negative side or the beneficial side. But I'm expecting for things to change. And so I'm just already playing my part so that I can be in position when things do pick up as far as like
Hmm.
the world e-
Mhm.
evolving for real type shit.
Ain't ready.
facts.
Get ready.
So you don't know exactly what we got to change, but you know the world needs to change type shit. Like you know that.
When we say we, I don't want to say we because when I say the world needs to change, I ain't talking about like I'm talking about when I say the world needs to change, I'm talking about like the things that makes this current world survive. Like when those things start to be fair, that's what I'm saying. Like when things actually become fair. And if I'm already expecting that and I'm trying to live in that image type of shit, then I'll be in position when things actually become like my life is fair currently. But I know that if I were to be privy or let other people change my mindset on how I see my life, then I'd be in fear because the world is so fucked up. You know what I mean? My world personally, I experience fairness, even though I can look out the window of my world and be like, damn, I hope that don't happen to me type shit. But I'm expecting for like that to not be a thing in the world to change, whether that be in my lifetime, but I don't want to say whether that be in my lifetime. I'm expecting it to be in my lifetime.
No, that's real shit. 'Cause I was gonna say, I mean, shit. All you can do is really just be the change that you want to see in the world. It's cliche as hell, but that's really what it is. So as long as you changing yourself, that's all you can do. Shit. That's the way I look at it.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Say whether it takes a couple lifetimes or not, it is what it
It's
is.
like it's like you can see the world change when you change your world. You know what I'm saying? Right,
Yes.
guys?
Yeah, it's kind of
Like,
like perspective. Like if you can see the world different and
Mhm.
seeing the world different, like it could be instantly. You know, that's kind of like how the brain actually works. Like when you see stuff, it automatically sends signals to like your
mm,
system and stuff like that. Like every second, it's always capturing like whatever, however you seeing stuff. That's you know,
And I think that's a component to the culture that I feel like, I mean, that I feel like I resonate with in this community is knowing that we can create whatever it is that we're trying to experience as long as we're
mhm.
making that. What the fuck? Hold on, y'all. Something just happened. Oh shit! Somebody opened the garage. I didn't know what that
You
was.
was snapping too.
Okay.
I was tapped in. I was like, you finna snap. I'm like, damn, that's a demon that came in, man. I swear you was finna snap.
What I was saying, about the world. I forgot what was the last thing I said. Somebody remember?
All right, you know, nah, I was in the Holy Spirit. I was just waiting for the next word, and then that shit came out of nowhere. I'm dead.
But yeah, I'm expecting for things to change. Oh, based on like how like my life is fair to me. Even if I experience like shit that's not fair, but just life overall, shit is fair to me. So if I know that I created that, because it ain't used to be like that for real. It ain't used to be that. I was like, damn, why this happened? Now I get it. So that was what I'm saying. The culture. That's like a thing. That's like a something of the culture that I resonate from this community. And if that's that little gem that I'm saying, if other people can switch their shit up to something like that, then
Mhm,
change is inevitable. Type shit. Like what I'm talking about, the fairness is inevitable. But
mhm.
I ain't gonna say I don't know if that's a thing or not. It was a thing for me, so it got to be. That's as far as I can go with it. Like I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I agree. Fairness,
Mhm.
like can't nobody take nothing from
Yeah.
you, and so it's
You can't
always
take anything from anybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
I said they always just sound like big time accountability for the most part, because you got to take
Mhm.
accountability for your situation, whether the good or the bad. It's like it's all trying to shape you in some way, shape, or form. So you got to make sure that if you get molded, it's at least towards your perfection, not what the world try to make of your perfections. Stop.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's when you get like,
Even when it comes to it, you got to shape them in the best way that you can. So when the future does come, they definitely are the future. So it's like, hey, you can make this brighter than I thought I could make it bright. I'm still making it bright, but hey, kid, come on, bring your good stuff in.
Uh,
yeah.
and if somebody else experienced that haven't experienced that before, like when they want to be in alignment with that, even if they is in the most toxic form that they could possibly be in, at least that awareness can spark some type of progression in that individual type shit. You feel me? Like I
Mm,
feel like that's a thing because it happened to me.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah. But
yeah, that type of stuff heal your body.
mhm.
People come out of sicknesses.
Yeah.
Y'all, the link is dropped if anybody wants to tap in. Anybody from the audience, if you want to show your, you know, let's hear your voice, maybe possibly show your face. You can include. This is how you participate in the
Get,
community. That was one of the questions. How
yeah,
do
get
you participate in the community? This is the opportunity. We ain't gonna be here that much longer because what time is it? It's 10:30. We've been here for
started.
an hour and 20 minutes. Who want to tap in? I don't. I can't see the chat though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speak
I can't see here.
or speak your piece or for overhope it, and don't be coming back talking about community when we was talking about it. fuck.
I think I seen somebody say they looking a hot mess.
Turn your camera off then. Just keep it off then.
Hey,
And come on. Come on up. Bring your ass on.
no such thing as a hot mess.
Well, keep the camera off then, baby. But you still come.
That's it.
Oh, it's reality. Come, ain't nobody judging.
Right, come as you are. I would join. Yeah, I would join right now. I'm looking a hot mess. Next live will join dear. Girl, whatever. I'll just play. Next live, we'll do honey.
Mm.
Well, but it's been an hour and 20 minutes. That was the last question. That's really all that I have for y'all. What does anybody else have anything?
Yeah. Thank our special guest for joining us.
Thank y'all. Oh yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be more than one male here, but it didn't work out like that. We had a couple of more people that were supposed to
It
come.
worked out exactly how the spirit intended it to work out. Amen.
That part.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all for having me. Yeah, I think it's cool, everything we talked about. And just to leave it on a light note, like we all did our best just showing up. So even if anybody want to critique and be like, oh, this community ain't doing this, ain't doing that shit, we can all rest assured tonight saying, hey, at least we tried. At least we had the conversation. You know what I'm saying? At least we went through the experience. You know what I'm saying? I was on there. The link was
Right,
open
I
and shit like
tried. Yeah.
that. So no matter that, like I think it was Shine earlier who said something about intentionality, like just having that intention of shit, it's Gemini season. Let's commune. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's gonna have ripple effects for lifetimes to come. So yeah, I'm appreciate y'all for having me. And yeah, it was dope.
I tried. That
Yeah.
remind me of something. A long
Y'all
time
do
You guys
ago.
want to
amazing.
shout out anything?
Did she say hold on just now?
You heard? I said if
What
you guys
happened?
want to shout out anything, you know, shout it out.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
community.
Let
You
them know.
said shout. You said shout out anything?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you guys are working on, you know, if you guys want to
Oh,
take this platform to do so, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna take this opportunity. I'm attempting. Well, I'm going. I'm about to turn 40. Let me just. I'll leave it right there. I'm about to be 40 years old, y'all, and my birthday is June 15th.
Yeah,
Hey.
you're not.
I was gonna say more, but I'm gonna leave the
Gemini
rest to
season.
myself.
Mhm.
Well, happy
Sure.
early birthday.
Yeah.
Birthday.
Yes, girl. Solar return coming through.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is my solar return, my Mercury return, and my Venus return. So yeah. All right.
Hey.
Well, I think we finished here. Thank y'all for tapping in.
For
I'll see
sure.
Heck
y'all
yeah, always
on the
affirming
next live.
peaceful
Appreciate y'all.
prosperity.
Thank you, Seema, for coming too.
Y'all.
Thank you, Seema, for
No,
coming.
much love. I appreciate y'all for having me.
All right,
Yeah.
y'all.
Heck yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.